By 1576, the Mughal Empire was rapidly swallowing the Indian subcontinent. Emperor Akbar was expanding his borders with relentless efficiency, absorbing nearly every territory in his path. While most powerful Rajput kingdoms opted to submit through diplomacy or sheer force, the kingdom of Mewar refused to bow. Its leader, Maharana Pratap, made it clear his territory would remain independent. Akbar answered this defiance with overwhelming military force. He dispatched his top general, Man Singh, with a massive invasion army, heavily equipped with field artillery and armored war elephants. The Mughals marched with over 10,000 heavily armed men, while Pratap could only muster 3,000 cavalry. This massive numerical disparity meant Mewar's defense relied heavily on a supporting force of indigenous Bhil tribesmen and their traditional bows. Pratap understood that a head-on collision on an open plain would result in the instant annihilation of his forces. He could not afford to fight the Mughals on their terms. To negate his disadvantage, the king decided to weaponize the local geography, drawing the invaders away from the plains and into a specific mountain choke point. He selected Haldighati, a narrow pass with distinctive yellow soil. The steep, uneven terrain made dragging heavy artillery a logistical nightmare, stripping the Mughals' technological advantage. Furthermore, the tight pass prevented mass deployment, forcing shoulder-to-shoulder combat that leveled the playing field. Pratap engineered the onset of the battle as a calculated trap, designed to strip the Mughal army of its greatest strengths the moment they entered the pass. The initial engagement favored the defenders. Leveraging their knowledge of the terrain, Pratap's forces successfully shattered the Mughal front lines in the opening hours. However, 16th century combat was uniquely terrifying. To break the deadlock, both sides drove heavily armored war elephants into the melee, protected by thick metal plating. At the climax, Pratap identified the Mughal commander, Man Singh, on an elephant. Spurring his war horse, Chetak, into a charge, the horse reared up, planting hooves on the elephant's trunk. Pratap hurled his spear, instantly killing the elephant's driver. But the maneuver came with a devastating cost. Mughal war elephants carried sharp trunk blades. As the beast thrashed, the blade slashed Chetak's leg, crippling the king's mobility at the most critical moment of the battle. The momentum of the battle shifted as rumors rippled through the Mughal ranks that Emperor Akbar himself was arriving with massive reinforcements. This news rallied the tiring Mughal troops back to the front. With the king immobilized and nearly surrounded, the Mewar forces executed a desperate decoy protocol. A noble named Jala Man Singh seized Pratap's royal crown and insignia, placing them on his own head. He became the ultimate target, drawing the entire Mughal offensive. Jala Man Singh died fighting, but blocked Pratap's escape window. Heavily bleeding and running on 3 legs, Chetak continued through the rugged terrain. This flight defied the physical limits of a war horse. The final obstacle was a 27-foot wide gorge. Chetak cleared it with one last massive leap, securing the king's safety on the other side, before collapsing and dying from his wounds. This maneuver prioritized the survival of the state. By executing this high-stakes VIP extraction, the Mewar nobles ensured that their leadership remained intact to continue the struggle. In the aftermath, the Mughals successfully claimed the battlefield and captured the nearby Gogunda fort. By traditional military metrics, they had secured a victory. But the capture of the fort was an illusion. Pratap's extraction marked the beginning of a tactical shift from conventional combat to asymmetric warfare. Pratap relocated his command deep into the Aravalli Hills. Using the unparalleled local knowledge of the Bhil tribes, he launched a relentless guerrilla campaign. These targeted strikes completely severed the Mughal supply lines, leaving the victorious army trapped in their forts and starving. The Mughals learned a brutal lesson. Capturing terrain is meaningless if the enemy leadership survives to fight another day. 6 years later, in 1582, Pratap's guerrilla rebuilding phase culminated at the Battle of Dwar. The counteroffensive was devastating. Pratap and his son unleashed their rebuilt army, systematically obliterating 36 separate Mughal outposts in a single day. This data shows the scale of the turnaround. While Pratap defended with just 3,000 men at Haldighati, his resurgent army forced 36,000 Mughal soldiers to surrender at Dwar. History often misinterprets a tactical retreat. Chetak's leap at Haldighati provided the vital strategic bridge that allowed Pratap to survive, rebuild, and ultimately reclaim his kingdom.